Coming up, highlights from the halfway point of the SOAR Summit.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The SOAR Summit is celebrating the end of its second day with music and gathering, wrapping up in downtown Pikeville. WYMT's Buddy Forbes has more on day 2.
That is the sound of the SOAR Summit closing out its second day.
The SOAR Summit's always really cool to see kind of what's happening around Eastern Kentucky, meet with your peers, and then, see what opportunities are out there. There's so many potentials in Eastern Kentucky.
A reception in the University of Pikeville Benefactors Plaza wrapped up a day of sessions, speakers, and sharing ideas.
The biggest thing I've seen is, we have all the resources here and the people to solve all our own issues and to create new economic opportunities and educational opportunities like we do here at UPike. And, it's just really inspiring to be around people like we've seen the past few days.
Focused on discovering ways to grow and succeed that are unique to each area of Appalachia.
People are looking for authenticity. Tourists are looking for authenticity. Remote workers are looking for authenticity. Companies are looking for, authenticity.
Leading up to a Friday full of speakers, announcements, and more Appalachian advocacy.
It's amazing to have an event like this in Pikeville, Kentucky, where people from all around Central Appalachia come and share ideas, and this is really the best and brightest.
But not before a little bluegrass. In Pikeville, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The final day of the SOAR Summit begins tomorrow with a host of special guest speakers and some funding announcements expected beginning at 9 a.m.
All right, we have another frost advisory that will go into effect at midnight. Take a look at the latest advisory here. This is for the majority of the WYMT viewing area. This goes until 10 o'clock in the morning. Outside right now we have clear skies. This is a scene in Knott County. We are seeing clear skies and temperatures right now in the 30s and 40s, mid-30s from Grundy down to Jonesville. We're at 39 in Hazard. Jackson, one of the warm spots, is at 48 in Moorhead, 42 in London. Somerset's checking in with 45. Next 12 hours keeps us clear. We'll go to 38 by the 6 o'clock hour, quickly renegating up to 59 with plenty of sunshine by noon. When you wake up in the morning, temperatures in the 30s will greet you from top to bottom, left to right. We'll make a run for the 60s tomorrow and then 70s this weekend. Details in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. Family members say a mother and her 3 children died in a Carroll County house fire early this morning. A 3-year-old survived and was eventually taken to a hospital in Louisville. Her condition is not known. Police say firefighters got to the scene within minutes, but the house was already engulfed. It's not known how the fire started. A vigil was held tonight to honor the 4 who died. Fire crews in Somerset responded to a fire in an apparent homeless encampment. Crews say they noticed a large amount of smoke coming from the wooded area behind Speedway North while en route to investigate. After receiving several 911 calls, dispatch sent crews to the scene. Upon arrival, they found a large fire involving clothes and other items, along with a tent, shopping carts, and trash scattered throughout the area. Kinetic is offering a reward of up to $10,000 for information about area copper thefts. It caused a widespread outage for hours yesterday in the Cumberland area of Harlan County. Responding Kinetic technicians saw 2 people who appeared to be vandalizing infrastructure. Service was restored, but officials say this was the 3rd outage in the same area this year. If you have any information, you should call police or Kinetic at the numbers you see there on your screen. Tonight we are hearing from a woman who says her brother was declared dead. He was in an organ retrieval surgery when the procedure was abruptly halted after he began showing signs of life. This case just coming to light this year after a whistleblower came forward. Grayson Passmore sat down with his sister, who is now fighting for reform for organ procurement organizations.
All I had was my gut instinct for 3 years that something wasn't what we were told.
On October 25th, 2021, Donna Rohr's brother, Anthony Thomas, TJ Hoover II, was admitted to Baptist Health Richmond's emergency room. He was experiencing cardiac arrest and deemed code blue.
We were told, their testing they did, that there wasn't reflexes, he had no reflexes, there was no brain activity, no brain waves.
The following day, Rohrer's family decided to remove TJ from life support. That's when they were told he was a registered organ donor. To honor his wishes, the next 2 days were spent testing TJ's organs to see what was viable, including a cardiac catheterization to test his heart.
And during his honor walk, his eyes started opening up, and we kind of, he was tracking, his eyes were tracking, looking around. And we were told, by the ICU supervisor that it was just reflexes. It was just a normal thing.
TJ was then taken into the organ retrieval surgery.
Probably about an hour into, they come out and got us, and the doctor did, and told us that he wasn't ready, that he had woke up. But we also hadn't been told that during his heart catheterization that morning that he woke up then. And because if we'd have known that, then clearly we would have known he wasn't brain dead.
Rohr was told to take TJ home and make him comfortable, as he wouldn't live long. Rohrer's been caring for her brother for 3 years now.
And he made several attempts to, hey, I'm here, but it was kind of ignored.
Rohr didn't learn of these details until January of this year, when Nicoletta Martin, who was working with Kentucky organ donor affiliates at the time, contacted her. She and other witnesses came forward this year, their testimonies heard before the House Energy and Commerce Committee in September.
It's not infrequent that something comes up around the donor and whether or not the donor's dead. And the problem is that we've got 40 years where there has been no oversight at all of the OPOs.
The Kentucky Attorney General's office says they are now looking into this case. In a statement from Baptist Health Richmond, they say, quote, "We work closely with our patients and their families to ensure our patients' wishes for organ donation are followed." Donna says if it can give one other family the courage to speak up or save one other person's life, then she's never going to stop telling TJ's story.
In my heart of hearts, I know something went on, but I kind of compare it, David and Goliath. Who am I to go against the medical system?
In Richmond, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
While they say they cannot discuss specific case details, Network for Hope did release a statement saying in part, quote, "An organ procurement organization is not involved in patient care, and we do not declare death. OPOs only have the authority to proceed with organ donation recovery after a patient's independent healthcare provider has declared death," end quote. Israeli officials say its troops have killed Hamas's top leader in a military operation in Gaza. Confirmation of the death of Yahya Sinwar, the mastermind of the October 7th terror attacks, came from Israel's foreign minister following DNA testing. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said evil suffered a heavy blow, but the war is not over. President Biden says he feels more hopeful now about a ceasefire. Former President Donald Trump delivered the keynote speech at the annual Catholic Charities fundraiser in New York tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris focused her efforts on the battleground state of Wisconsin, where early voting starts next week. CBS's Natalie Brand reports from Washington.
Trading the campaign trail for a night of one-liners, former President Donald Trump delivered the keynote speech at the annual Al Smith Charity Dinner, a longtime tradition for presidential candidates.
It's a true pleasure to be with you this evening, amazing pleasure. And these days it's really a pleasure anywhere in New York without a subpoena for my appearance.
Vice President Kamala Harris did not attend the New York White Tie fundraiser for Catholic Charities. Instead, she appeared in a recorded video while holding back-to-back rallies in battleground Wisconsin Thursday.
This is going to be a tight race until the very end. Look, we are the underdog, and that's why we are, and I am campaigning to earn every single vote.
Earlier, campaigning with Harris at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, celebrity investor Mark Cuban, who slammed Trump's tariffs plan.
The Grinch doesn't understand how economics work.
Trump's running mate J.D. Vance also focused on the economy today in battleground Pennsylvania.
Because of Kamala Harris, people can't afford groceries and housing.
Governor Tim Walz and former President Bill Clinton campaigned together in North Carolina, where early in-person voting began Thursday.
I voted.
While the battleground state struggles to recover from Hurricane Helene. In the West, new CBS News polling show the race is tight in Arizona. The poll shows Trump with a slight 3-point edge over Harris, boosted by issues of the economy and the border. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Former First Lady Melania Trump joined her husband at the dinner in New York City. You're probably seeing a lot of ads and discussion about Amendment 2, the proposed change to the Kentucky Constitution that would open the door to public money being directed to private or charter schools. The ads in favor of it, featuring U.S. Senator Rand Paul, are being fueled in part by Pennsylvania billionaire Jeff Yass, who often donates to Republicans. The Kentucky Lantern reports Yass has contributed $5 million to the Protect Freedom PAC and is associated with Senator Paul. On the other side, a group called Protect Our Schools has raised more than $3 million from teachers' unions. The Kentucky Educational Development Corporation came together for its annual legislative breakfast today. Much of the discussion centered around Amendment 2. Kentucky Education Commissioner Robbie Fletcher says the amendment concerns him in two key areas: accountability and funding. Supporters say the amendment will give parents more of a choice in their child's education. We know the safety and security of this election is very important for voters. We talked with Secretary of State Michael Adams about ballot and election security, and he says Kentuckians can cast their ballots with confidence.
This is very important. There is no way to breach the voting because the voting isn't done through the internet. There's no way to log on and hack in and get into a piece of paper and a pen. You can't do it. All of these ballot scanners that we use at the polls, they don't connect to the internet. They don't have modems. They don't have any way to be hacked.
Election Day is less than 3 weeks away. If you are registered to vote, you can find election guides, polling locations, and sample ballots at vote.ky.gov. Early voting starts on October 31st. Election Day is Tuesday, November 5th. Congressman Hal Rogers was at Morehead State University today to announce new funding for its aerospace program. Almost $10 million will be awarded to the institution that will be used to upgrade the satellite dishes the program uses. Morehead President Jay Morgan says the funds will be instrumental in the evolution of the university.
In order to transform a number of our contracts, our programs, help us with repairs on our satellite dishes and our equipment here to the building. We're very appreciative of the congressman.
Morehead State University is a partner of NASA, which allows its students to work with some of the brightest minds in the field.
A panel investigating former President Donald Trump's rally shooting unveils a scathing report on the state of the Secret Service.
And we are trending warmer as we go into the weekend. Details in a few minutes.